Welcome to Redstone University, my new students. Here at Redstone University, you will learn the fundamentals of redstone and learn how simple circuits can create complex contraptions. So in order to use redstone, you must obtain it first. And the most common way to do that is to go underground and mine these little ores with little red splotches on them called redstone ore. So, when you mine a block with a regular pickaxe, you can get anywhere from 4 to 5 redstone dust. And now I have redstone dust. Another way to get it is through villager trading. The clerk will trade redstone for emeralds. So now, in order to use redstone, you right click the ground to place it. And then you can place it next to another piece of redstone dust to make a line. Now, when I activate this lever, it will activate this redstone dust powering that piston, like so. Now, the signal will travel instantaneously. So as soon as this turns on, that will turn on. Now redstone dust has a signal strength, which means how far it can travel before it runs out of power. So most power sources output a signal strength of 15. Now, when placing it, there are a few rules. For one, you cannot place it on walls. Now you can place it on 2 blocks like so, and it will climb up to meet the other piece of redstone dust, like so. Now it will not climb up 2 blocks in order to meet a redstone dust, only 1. So if you want it to travel up 2 blocks, you gotta have it wrap around like so. Now, let's say you're done using this. In order to get it off the ground, you either punch it, like so, have a piston push into it, or, usually this happens by accident, but it's an effective way to clean up a mess, or make a mess, is to use water. Great, now I have redstone dust everywhere. One last thing about redstone is the fact that it can soft power a block. Unlike repeaters and other components like them, it soft powers a block, which means redstone adjacent to that block cannot be powered. But repeaters and redstone applications like lamps and pistons can be powered. To demonstrate, that turns the lamp on and the repeater on, but not the redstone. But when we turn the repeater on, it hard powers a block, which powers all the redstone around it and everything else. Alright, now we move on to the second unit, which is repeaters, comparators, and torch basic mechanics. Alright, when crafting these things, you need stone, redstone torches, redstone, and sticks. So, first, to create a redstone torch, you need 1 stick and 1 piece of redstone dust. 1 torch. Now, for a repeater, you need 3 pieces of stone, not cobblestone, stone. Then you need to put the 2 torches on either side and redstone dust in the middle. 1 repeater. And then finally, for the comparator, you need 3 stone again, and then you need 3 torches, and then 1 nether quartz. 1 redstone comparator. First, we have the repeater. The repeater outputs a signal strength of 15, so that means the redstone can travel 15 blocks before it runs out of power. And it also has a delay. So normally it has a 1 tick delay, but you can have a 2, 3, or 4 tick delay. A tick is 1/10 of a second, or 2 game ticks, which are 1/20th of a second. So a redstone tick is 2 game ticks. So it has a delay. And also, if you input a pulse that is shorter than the amount of ticks this is delayed, it will extend the pulse. So if we send a 1 tick pulse, which will turn on and off extremely quickly, it will convert into a 4 tick pulse. Very simple. Now the comparator. The comparator is a redstone component that measures the fullness of containers or stages in certain blocks. For example, we will be using the lectern because it measures which page we're on. So we're on page 2, so that means this will output a signal strength of 2. And if we're on page, say, 14, it will output a signal strength of 14. Now, some other things that I can measure is the fullness of composters, fullness of containers like furnaces, fullness of a cauldron, the fullness of a beehive, the amount of cake or lack thereof, and then items in a chest. Also, it also can measure the strength of a piece of redstone. So this is 3, so it'll measure 3 and keep it at 3. So you can have a single redstone line stay the same signal strength using comparators. Comparators are a very useful redstone component. The redstone torch is a very versatile redstone component because it can be placed on any side of a block except underneath it. Now, you can place it on top and have it run into a block, which is what I'm demonstrating right here. Because what a torch does is when the block it's sitting on is powered, it will turn off. But when the block is unpowered, it will forever stay on until the block is powered. It will, like the repeater, output redstone signal strength of 15, and it also is affected by soft powered blocks. So if I were to deactivate this, that would activate this torch, powering this block, deactivating all of these torches. Very simple. Now we move on to Unit 3, which deals mostly with pistons and sticky blocks. In order to craft a piston, you will need 4 cobble, 3 oak planks, or any kind of planks, 1 iron ingot, and 1 redstone dust. So, you place them in a pattern, like so. Place the 3 planks on top, any kind, and they can be mixed. Ingot in the middle, and a redstone dust on the bottom. 1 piston. Now if you want to make the sticky variety, all you need is that same piston and 1 slime ball. Easy peasy. So first, what is the difference between a piston and a sticky piston? Well, it's easy. Both can push blocks, but only one can take the block back. The sticky piston can retract a block from where it pushed it, while the piston cannot. That's the only difference between the two. Now, another thing with pistons is they are limited on what they can push. So, for one, some items like torches, buttons, pressure plates, all that, when they're pushed by pistons, they just break into an item that you can pick up. Now, pistons have a maximum push limit, and it's 12 blocks. They cannot push any more than 12 blocks. So, here we have 12 stone, and then they can push that. But 13, it's not going to do anything. Now there's some blocks in the game like obsidian, bedrock, that just cannot be pushed no matter what you do. So yeah. And then containers. Containers, whether they're full or empty, they cannot be pushed no matter what. So I could fill this up and it doesn't make a difference. Now, some of this is different on Bedrock Edition, but most of the fundamental aspects are the same. Alright, now we move on to Unit 5, which involves droppers and hoppers. First, in order to use them, you must be able to craft them, and in order to do that, you need 7 cobble and 1 piece of redstone for a dropper. What you do is you place all the cobble into an upside down U, then you place the redstone dust in the bottom right here, and 1 dropper. Now for a hopper. Hoppers are expensive because they require 5 iron and 1 chest. You take the iron, you place it in this weird V shape, then you put the chest smack dab in the middle, and 1 hopper. First we will discuss a dropper. Dropper is very simple. What a dropper does is it basically releases items in the direction it's facing, and the direction it's facing is where this hole is. So, there's 9 inventory slots, and it will select 1 item at random to dispense out, like so. Now, items like TNT and lava, they will dispense in the item form, not in any other form, so they won't explode or burn everything up. Now, we have hoppers. Now, hoppers are a little more complicated, because what they do is they push and pull items, which means they will push items to a container that they're facing, marked by these arrows and this little thing knob right here. and they also pull. So they'll take items from a chest and put them in the hopper. Now, any item that is one block above it, so this block here, this imaginary block here, it will absorb or pick up, like so. And it will do whatever it wants with it. Now, there's also a function where you can lock a hopper, which means when items are flowing through here, they will stop at a hopper that's locked. So, let me start some items. There we go. So you can see that items are flowing through here and ending up in this chest. Now, items do not get randomized to hoppers, but that's exclusive to Java. Now, if I were to lock this, it would start building up in this hopper, because this hopper would no longer be allowed to push or pull, because this is forcing items into here by pushing items in here. But this cannot push because it's locked. So items will just build up. And then once that's full, it will fill up this, and it will just create a big backup. Now, one last thing. Hoppers will prioritize sending items down instead of across. Let me demonstrate. So those hoppers will go down through here and then through these hoppers here, if I can find them, and not in this chest. And that's just a mechanic that you need to remember. Now, if this gets full, then it will send items into this chest. So hoppers are a little tricky, but after using them for a little while, you'll figure it out. Now we move on to our last unit, which is observers. Now first, in order to use an observer, you must know how to craft it. So what you need is 6 cobblestone, placed in 2 rows like that, 2 redstone dust, 1 center, 1 on the left, and then 1 nether quartz on the right. And then that's an observer. Now you must be wondering, observers must be important because they have their own unit, and they are a game changer. Ever since they've been added to the game, many things have been made possible by observers. And the reason is because observers detect block updates, which is when a block changes states, like when a redstone lamp turns on, no block activated or is tuned, door opens or closes, any of that. Redstone activates or deactivates, all that. There's a whole list on the internet if you want to see more. So, I'm going to use this lever to demonstrate. So when I flick this lever, it'll send out a 1-tick pulse with a signal strength of 15. And that was demonstrated by this lamp flicking on and off. So, that's why observers get their own unit. Alright, for extra credit, I want you to go into your Minecraft world, create a new world, and then just build. Build redstone contraptions. Use what you learned today to build something that either does something that is helpful or just completely useless. So like what I've built to demonstrate. So, this is what I call a useless machine. Now, it uses most of the things that we learned in this episode. So, allow me to demonstrate what it does. So I put this lever down, activate it, and then it breaks it. Completely useless. Now, let me show you how it works. So when I place this lever down, I activate that lamp, which then activates this dropper, dropping 1 lever into this chest, because droppers can also send items into containers. Now, this chest will have an item in it, but it will not get sucked out by the hopper because it's locked. But now that this chest has something in it, this will activate, activating this, deactivating this, unlocking the hopper, and then the item will get stored in this chest, which this will deactivate. But before it deactivates, this activates, and this activates a sticky piston, which pushes this block, breaking the lever. It sounds like a mouthful, but it's really not. It's pretty simple, and it actually could be simplified some. But just to use all the stuff that we learned today, or most of it, I made it just a bit more complex. And this is sort of like something I want you to do. So, get into those Minecraft worlds and start building, and see where redstone takes you. Because the more you practice, the better you'll get. And the better you'll get, you'll be able to impress your friends with amazing contraptions. Amazing class, everyone. I hope you learned a lot. We covered a lot of information in this episode. So if you want to rewatch it to make sure you got everything, go right ahead. So I hope you do some of that extra credit because that will really help you in the long run. And I want to emphasize one last time how these small, simple contraptions can build up to nice, large, complex contraptions that you can amaze your friends and yourself with. So, students, you are dismissed.